This segment is going to be very straightforward. This is how we think Star Wars 7 through 9, how we wish it had gone. Star Wars 7. 7, I had a great time watching. I had a great time in the theater. I was super excited for the rest of these movies after watching 7.
I think it set everything up, and I was pretty, like you said, like, who's Rey, all these things, like...
It gives you, like, it's like, they blow up the Death Star again, like, it's a Star Wars movie, it's very familiar, and they do a lot of things well, a lot of cool scenes.
100%.
But the coolest parts about it were the things they set up. They set up who are Rey's parents, Kylo and Ren and Rey, what's their relationship going to be? Yeah. Set an intrigue about Snoke, who is Snoke, Luke, where is Luke gone? And then, Finn and Poe are these new heroes, like what's going to come of them? So a lot of cool stuff happens in the movie, and all these cool unanswered questions, open-ended questions, are set up for the rest of this franchise.
No, it's great. And then also it's just like, Daisy Ridley becomes the new Emma Watson.
Yeah.
Move over. It's the new era. The iOS updates here.
Yeah, no, it's a great movie.
Heartthrob.
But now when I watch it, like I honestly have a bitter taste in my mouth, knowing like this is what happens to all of these storylines. So let's pick it up with 8, with The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So we have all those questions set up, and there was a lot of debate online before this movie came out. Like, this is what's gonna happen with Rey's parents, all these theories, and I think that they saw that and they chose to divert everyone's expectations to say, like, to pull the rug out. Like, you think this is gonna happen, it's not gonna happen.
You thought it was gonna be a good movie.
No. So yeah, they switched directors from J.J. Abrams to Rian Johnson. I didn't know this at the time, no one did, but they didn't have a plan for the trilogy before it started. They were going movie by movie, coming up with stuff. Which we
found out pretty quickly going into.
Why, like, after years, like, it took them, 12 more years to make another Star Wars movie after the prequel trilogy. Yeah. Why would you not have, like, a full plan for everything that happens in all 3 movies? Like, there's no rush.
Yeah. I just think that the general theme of these is that they didn't have a consistent visionary. Like, you can say what you want about George Lucas, you can, but he had a vision that was very direct, is what he wanted, and that's what they carried for a lot of the first 6 movies.
Yeah, and so they bring Rian Johnson in to direct this. Before he's even done directing it, he's already been signed on to direct a new sequel trilogy. So they were super high on this movie. They thought it was going to be everyone's new favorite. Yeah. And episode 8, nothing is accomplished, nothing happens. It's a low-speed chase through space, which is not exciting at all. The rebel ship is here. The villains are like 100 feet behind them. They can't catch them for some reason, even though they're out of gas. Their lasers are arcing through space like they're gravity, and they can't get through the shields because they're too far. It doesn't make any sense, and that's the whole movie, is this low speed chase while there's other stuff going on.
The casino scene's so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my friends at Mohegan Sun could have created a more fun 45 minutes of casino than that was. Nothing contributed to the ending of that movie that happens like an hour prior. No. It was just Poe being like, we gotta take the fight to him, and all edgy, and it really, that decision for him not to do that, like, it all comes down to like the rebels at the end, either way, being trapped in that ice cave. So then, I don't know if you want to take him there, but totally botched as well.
Everything the main characters do in the movie does not affect how it ends. Like, the ending scene where they end up on that planet will always happen, because everyone on their separate missions fails, which maybe is the point. But they're no matter, like, you're watching this whole movie with these characters you love, nothing they do, like, diverts or impacts, like, where they end up for the last scene of the movie. And so they set up, like, what's Snoke? Snoke doesn't matter, he's dead. What's Finn gonna be doing? Finn in this movie tries to be a hero, and he gets very much
he gets messed up.
Yeah, like this is the last scene in the movie where that had a chance for redemption.
Yeah. We can agree that if Finn died in that moment, all sins would have been forgiven. It would have made well for the whole entire thing, because they actually ended with a really great twist that people didn't expect, that tugs on the heartstrings, that makes you invest in the next movie. Instead, he gets saved in the worst way possible, and it couldn't have felt like a bigger cop-out.
Yeah, so he's flying toward the battering ram laser that's going to save the rebels, because if they get in, the rebels are doomed. So he's going to save the day. He's the only hope for them. And he gets clipped by the new character
that nobody likes.
Yeah,
that nobody likes.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just Finn's big hero moment. It would have been such a brave move to have him die there, and it gets.
It's the biggest tease. It's the biggest tease.
So then we go into Star Wars 9. All of the questions that have been set up have no answers, and there's nothing leading into 9. You don't come out of 8 like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen with this and that, because 8 ends with, like, now there's a spark for hope for the rebellion because they escaped, like, being wiped out. So you're, like, really, like, have a blank slate for the last one, which, like, all right, so let's just get into the last movie. we start off with Palpatine coming back.
Which is just intro in the beginning.
It's in the crawl. Palpatine's back. And that's the worst decision by far, I think, in this movie. Because, you have Snoke, the big bad guy, gets killed off. Well, now who's the big bad guy? The original script of this movie, Colin Trevorrow's script, which has been leaked online, Kylo Ren is the big bad guy. That's the whole point, is that Kylo Ren kills Snoke, and now it's his job. He wants to wipe out the Sith and the Jedi and just have, all of that stuff we know be done away with. And so let's go through the script. It was going to start off with Kylo Ren goes to Mustafar. He's trying to find Palpatine's teacher. He's trying to figure out how he can destroy the Sith and the Jedi. And Luke and Darth Vader's Force Ghosts both come and intervene with him. He actually has a fight with Darth Vader of you need to stop doing what you're doing. Darth Vader,
which would have been dope.
Darth Vader comes back. He has a Force Ghost fight. It would have been cool. Meanwhile, you have Rey and Poe are trying to steal. They're trying to go steal the Star Destroyer. They were supposed to have some kind of romance. I don't know how well that would have worked out. But they're on a mission together. You have the main characters going and doing something cool.
Development.
Finn is on a mission to Coruscant, right?
Yeah.
Coruscant. To steal Imperial weapons, and he's trying to ignite a beam of a message to the galaxy. We're fighting a war. You need to come help us. And along the way, he gets kidnapped. They get kidnapped. And he finds a bunch of stormtroopers that are trying to defect. And this is the key to Finn's storyline for this trilogy is coming together in this, where Finn is going to lead these stormtroopers to defect, and he's going to lead a rebel battle on Coruscant, at the end of the movie, the big fight. He was going to lead that battle and lead everyone that's going to defect from the dark side, and combining that with sending the beacon to get everyone to come as backup. Finn was going to be the guy that saves the galaxy, and him rejecting his stormtrooper life was going to be a big symbol. And he's said, since the movie has come out, you can't put a black actor in a franchise and make him out to be the most important character and then just do nothing with him.
He's a very insignificant character in this movie.
Him and Poe in the last movie actually they play no role in how things turn out.
They're only main characters because you know more about them.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that's separating them. They're not doing anything any more significant than anyone else could have done.
The mission they go on at the end, when they're going, they're on the planet at the end and they're trying to kill the fleet of Star Destroyers, they're only successful because backup comes. What they're doing to try and go on that mission, it's a complete waste.
It's Deus Ex Machina.
It's
Deus Ex Machina for sure. But I think that's listen, all these movies, every movie that's come out since 6 has been disappointing in some kind of way. Even 3 and 7, you look back at it and you like them, but just because something's less bad doesn't make it great. And those movies weren't disappointing, but that's it. And that is why if you talk to people that are 40 years old who grew up with 4, 5, and 6, they haven't liked a movie since. They haven't. It's been it's fine, it's whatever, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them for that. It's not the lack of originality, it's not. It's the execution and it's the constant one person having a vision and it coming to fruition. It's a mess.
That leads well into how this movie was supposed to end. Because this movie was supposed to end with that fight that Rey and Kylo Ren have on the Death Star, where it ends in the ocean. That's supposed to be the ending of the movie, where it's a final battle with Rey and Kylo Ren. There's a ton of cool aspects to this I won't get into. Rey gets blinded at one point and uses her blind training. There's so many cool things that happen. But it ends with Kylo Ren is about to strike her down and win the war. And Leia's last message, which happens in the movie, Leia calls out to him and he spares her and he ends up dying. And that was supposed to be the message that you're never too far gone. You can always come back to the light side. And that,
by Rey killing you.
Yeah. Well, we got that moment in the movie where Leia calls out to him and he changes sides, but it takes place halfway through. That would have been the end of the movie. That would have been better than what we got, but it's an exact copy of Darth Vader's arc, where Darth Vader at the end of the 6th movie chooses I'm gonna go back to the light side. I've had a change of heart. I'm gonna save my son and kill the Emperor. And that is going back to what you said, where you saw this franchise in the 80s and you loved it and you haven't liked anything since because it was a great story, and even this story would have just been feeding off that and trying to redo it, just the 7th movie was just a redo of A New Hope. So the best case scenario for this franchise with what they gave us was that you kind of end up with just a knockoff of the original trilogy.
I don't think you had to do much of a rehashing. I think that they can bring up new ideas and have them be pretty great. I think that 3 proved a lot of things. And in 3, they introduced a lot of new kind of elements to Star Wars. Realism in main characters, the destruction of good in somebody. those things were pretty great, and I think you could have carried that same energy going forward. But yeah, 7 was going to be a reboot. You knew that 7 was going to be a rehashing. It had to be, and they did a good job at that. So that's why I say it's not like the originality that brought these movies down. But there's a couple of things that, like, of course, there's a lot of bad decisions, but there's a couple of big turns that they go the different way. I just think it means so much. I think that obviously Finn dying, and maybe even Rey dying, maybe Rey killing Palpatine, and then just being dead, and then Kylo Ren is the last Jedi. It makes more sense for him to be the last Skywalker because he's literally the bloodline, whereas like Rey is just is a Palpatine bastard child.
Rey never loses a fight in this movie, in this franchise. Like she beats Kylo Ren in the first movie, and then just goes on an undefeated streak. And it would have made more sense if Kylo Ren at the end of that movie is like the one that's alive. Rey gives his life to save. It's her life to save him, and then Kylo Ren has to make up for Luke's mistakes and go and like start a new training school for Jedi or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, Luke shouldn't have had mistakes. They shouldn't have messed with the original. So they're making a new trilogy with Rian Johnson directing, which I'm nervous
about. It's gonna be terrible,
because it's Rian Johnson, and we just saw what he did with the Star Wars movie. But this new trilogy should have never been part of the Skywalker story. Because
I should have let it die.
They didn't even plan for it before it happened. They just were like, we're gonna make more Skywalker movies, and they didn't have a plan for it, and it ended up poorly. You can make more Star Wars. The Mandalorian. You can make Star Wars stuff. That's awesome. It takes place in that universe. It's badass. It doesn't have to connect to Darth Vader. Not everything has to connect to this movie that you made 40 years ago. You can make new things.
Yeah, no, and the whole entire Rey payoff just isn't what it like. Rey is like Patrick Mahomes. Luke is like Tom Brady. Luke started in like nothing. He also lost a lot of he was the guy who came to the combine with the dad bod. He's like, what the hell are we gonna do with this? But then after those L's, after getting his hand chopped off, after all these things, he comes in the end and he's bigger, he's stronger. He's the man. Rey kind of comes in and just starts throwing the football down the field, no look passes, defeating Kylo Ren in her first really big fight with him, and you're just like. Then she wins a Super Bowl, and you're just kind of oh, that's cool. But it's not like Tom Brady's story. Like it's not. I'm not even a Pats fan. But the whole entire story there's not like a lot of payoff. The only L's that Rey took in the beginning when she couldn't sell that port for 7 portions or whatever. That's the last L she took.
Yeah, the story of Star Wars is the rise and then fall and then finally the redemption of Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, and his son saving him.
Peaks and valleys.
So when you drag it out for 3 more movies and you just give Kylo Ren the exact same arc one more time, it's a cash grab. It's not necessary. The way to fix these movies would be to plan them out way better, or to not have them connect to the original 6. Or at least have the through points of the first movie connect through the whole series so that at least you get some kind of satisfying ending. There's a lot of things that happen in the last movie where it's like, we have new force powers, we
just healed,
Palpatine is now like the most powerful thing ever. I just don't think that, you don't have to explain it because it's just the force, you don't understand it. But how about something that makes sense? How about something that actually makes sense that I can follow and understand? That would have been a better movie.
Honestly, at the end of the day, I really don't expect anything from Star Wars movies going on forward. If something as good as 4, 5, and 6, I'll take that victory and bring it right to the bank. But I'm not really going to count on it.
Yeah, not expecting it. Thanks for The Mandalorian, but that's all we got.